Good morning. Thank you for coming to the interview. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Victoria Felser. I'm a graduate of Canisius College. I'm currently located in Buffalo, New York, and I'm currently doing a graduate assistantship at Hilbert College in their student activities office.
And what job are you applying for?
I am currently applying for the assistant coordinator position at Fresno State through California University.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, I have some questions for you. The first one is, what are one or two qualities, personal qualities, that you feel like you bring that will help you be successful in this position?
Sure, definitely. I have a couple of things that I think are important, especially in a role such as this, is I have a lot of passion and I bring a lot of like my values and morals with me. So those would be my main two. With Hilbert being my undergraduate and Canisius being my master's degree, I've been very fortunate that I've been at schools that have great value systems. There's a lot of emphasis on collaboration, a lot of emphasis on community engagement. So through those things and through reading the description through Fresno State, I feel like that would make me a really great match. I'm able to take those, the passion that I have and those values and bring them together in order to really, really, really have that campus and community engagement.
Excellent. What do you think are the strongest leadership skills that you bring?
Strongest leadership skills. Well, let's see here. Strongest leadership skills for me. My first one would probably be organization. I love to be organized. I love to have everything kind of in a little folder binder. So that's kind of a nice thing. I like to color code things as well. I have a nice little planner, so I'm very organized. I like to keep things, very structured when possible. So that would be my first for leadership, and my second would probably be communication skills. I recently was speaking with my supervisor, and he told me flat out, he said, I think you could have a conversation with a brick wall if you needed to. So I feel like I'm pretty good at having conversations with people and all different types of people. I'm like kind of a talker a little bit, so sometimes it gets me in trouble a little bit just because, I do like to talk in that sense, and I shouldn't say it gets me in trouble. What I mean is, I can go on forever if I'm not careful, is what I mean.
Excellent. What does a supervisor need to use as an approach to bring out the best in you?
The best in me. That's okay. So that's a great question. For me personally, I would say I do like to have some sense of direction in where I'm going and the things that I'm doing. So it would be great to kind of have a supervisor that would be able to work with me in the sense that they could still give me some guidance in what I'm doing, what type of project it is, or assignment that I'm working on, just to make sure I'm on the same page. And then frequently, like just checking in to make sure, maybe like even if it's just once a week or once a month. I'm a huge fan of like the one-on-ones when possible, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So I'm good. I'm good at working on my own if I need to, but I really love that collaboration as well when possible.
Great. What's the most useful criticism you ever received?
Useful criticism. Let's see here. My biggest criticism is, let's see here. Probably would be, I'm sorry, I had an answer for this and I'm just blanking. My biggest criticism would probably be working in an environment. I've had to work in a few different environments where I don't feel I don't feel like they have as much passion as I do, would probably be the best way to describe it. So sometimes I struggle a little bit when I'm trying to work on something and I don't feel like somebody has the same dedication. So it's definitely something that I've been working on. And also, I'm trying to find a way to kind of use that now in order to create motivation, like to help other people kind of feel more motivated when it comes to particular projects, because not everything is going to be everyone's cup of tea. So I have to realize that everyone's not going to be as passionate as I am about everything, and what can I do to bring out the best in not just myself, but my other coworkers as well.
Is that something that someone has given you useful criticism about? That
I would say a little bit, yes. I've also, if I had to say another thing that I've gotten criticism about, it would be, let's see, I'm trying to think of another thing. I would say another thing for me is working towards sounding more authoritative. That would be another thing, if I had to come up with a second thing for that. I have been working with students for a few years now, and one of the things that I've kind of had to learn, especially at a younger age, is being more authoritative with the students when you're only a year or two or a couple of years older than the students.
Right.
So it was a challenge when I first began, and it's something that I've been working towards in the last few years. And I feel like now that I'm getting a little bit older, I'm in the master's program now, it's something that I've been able to kind of work on a little bit more. And so I'm a little bit more authoritative and not just friendly, I guess would be a good way to put it.
Right. Excellent. How do you demonstrate your accessibility to students?
Demonstrating my accessibility. Well, for me, I've always had when I have an office, I've always had a very open door policy. So my students know that I'm available almost whenever they need me, that they can stop by if they need to chat. If they need to discuss something. One of the things that I feel like was important for this position is the advisement and the counsel that's important. And it's something that I've been doing not only here at Hilbert through my graduate assistantship, but also my graduate assistantship last year at Medaille College. I was in their student success center, and I was working with students academically, tutoring, and I was doing probation at the time as well with the students. And like I said, the accessibility was very important for them to know that I was there when they needed the counsel, and that they were always there for me to be dependent on. Like they could depend on me.
Excellent. How do you handle competing deadlines and the stress of that?
Let's see. For something like that, let's see. A lot of things nowadays, you just have to be good at multitasking, and definitely prioritizing, knowing what's important, what needs to be done first, what's kind of at the top of that list that needs to kind of be the main focus, and just doing your best at getting that first major thing done and kind of checking it off the list. When I joke around about my organization and liking to be organized, I am similar in the fact that I like my to-do list. It feels good to check things off the list, and I would say that definitely takes some of the stress off. A nice check next to it makes me feel a little bit better. So I would say that would probably be the way that I handle it best.
Great. What are your long-term professional goals?
For my long-term professional goals, I'm hoping to stay in this area kind of academically. I really enjoy the advisement of students, whether it be, academically for what they're taking in classes, or when it comes to getting to know the students, being an advisor for different clubs. It's something that I've always loved. Right now I'm advising SGA, and our CAB club, which is Campus Activities Board. So I love working with them. So my major goal is to really stay with working with the students. I actually worked professionally for a little over a year at Hilbert College before I went back for my master's degree. And I was in the Office of Annual and Special Giving. And with that, I loved my job. I was working with alumni, which was fantastic, but I really missed that student interaction. So for me, it's really important to maintain in whatever position that I'm doing that kind of work with students. I was able to get that in the call center because we did calling for phone-a-thon, but they were starting to go in another direction, which was a little bit more like automated calls. So I knew that that was probably going to start to disappear a little bit as well. So for me, it's just been trying out these different positions in the last 2 years throughout my master's program to see what I like the best, and then hopefully going towards that in the future. And I would really love to do some teaching if possible. I did some teaching for supplemental instruction courses when I was at Medaille, and I did some teaching as a TA in my undergrad when I was at Hilbert, teaching their Film 101 class. So with that and my background in English, I love tutoring, I love teaching. So my goal is to kind of keep this student affairs type position, but also to kind of maintain like this academic, possibly even teaching area as well.
Excellent. It's a great idea even to just be an adjunct while you're doing student affairs because it helps you cross over to academic.
Absolutely.
Do you have any questions for me?
Actually, I did have a couple of questions in regards to the position itself. My first question was, I had looked at a few things. Obviously, going to California from Buffalo would be fantastic for the weather in itself. Would love that. But I was just curious about some of the campus activities and annual traditions, just since it's something that since I'm doing student activities right now, it's an area that I'm always interested in, and I'm always interested to hear, what these universities do that kind of stand out from other institutions.
Excellent. I don't, of course, know the answer since I'm not there, but I think that's a great question. And you might even add, something about how the activities themselves, how is the school linking those activities to student retention, student persistence, since those are words that are sort of central to everybody's thinking right now.
Actually, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I had that on my notes as something to kind of bring in as we were having the conversation, because I did see that their freshman retention rate was 84%.
Right.
So that was kind of what I was going to lead into was, does that help with the retention rate?
Right. Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
I'm trying to think if I had any other questions. For me, the only other question that I really had, and I don't know if this is because it's the California State University and I'm used to like the private institutions so far. One of my questions was under a title, it says Assistant Coordinator, and then in parentheses it says SSP2. So that was going to be my second question, was kind of what does that section mean? Is it part of the title? Is it part of just, like a pay grade system or something like that?